Here's a full arm day to get absolutely massive arms. By the way, if you want to learn everything there is to know about optimal training, check out the optimal workout guide in my bio. It has multiple workout splits that you can choose from as well. So obviously my current split now doesn't include an arm day, but my prior split did. And I had a lot of people asking me for example arm days because they want to include an arm day in their routine. So I would normally start off with a bicep exercise just because my triceps tend to overpower my biceps. It would usually be an alternating dumbbell curl, a preacher curl, or a face-away cable curl. I have phases where I would stick with one, then phases where I'd stick with the other, etc. And these are all go-to exercises. They train the biceps incredibly well. And they have good loading capacity too, like it's not too difficult to progress with them. You can kind of just slowly add weight to them. I would then do some kind of push-down variation. You can pick whatever attachment you want. I know there's a lot of debate about which is better, but just pick a push-down attachment and do that. Literally just pick a movement where your arms finish by your side, so pretty much any push-down variation, and you're going to be hitting your long head relatively well. The reason the tricep long head is so important is because it makes up the biggest part of your tricep. It's also not very well trained with other pressing movements like close grip bench press, etc. And when it fully develops, it kind of gives you that lower sweep when you do a bicep pose. It's really cool. So yeah, your first tricep exercise should, in my opinion, be a push-down variation. It's also a lot easier on your elbows than doing something like an overhead variation. Which don't bias the long head, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. My personal favorite variation is where you brace with one hand against the cable stack, you then get a cuff and then wrap it around your other wrist. You then push down with your arm so that your hand finishes by your side or slightly behind you. Could use a straight bar or an easy bar too. If you do, I recommend wearing a weighted calisthenics belt. It just increases the stability a lot. Next is some kind of reverse curl variation for the brachioradialis, which is like that chunky part at the top of your forearm. It will also include some brachialis and of course some bicep as well. I remember watching a JPG coaching video like way back where he did these on a cable row machine. Like he would brace himself on the actual cable row and he'd just do a reverse curl. There are tons of variations, like you can even do it on the cable stack if you want. Next, I would do a Smith machine JM press. I really like the Smith machine variation just because of the stability, but you could in theory do this with a barbell too. Now this is great for the medial and lateral head of your tricep. That kind of gives you that croissant look. I would then normally finish off with some direct forearm isolation work, so something like a cable wrist curl and some kind of wrist extension variation. To be honest, I was very on and off with my forearm isolation work. I should have been more consistent with it, but I definitely would include some if you can. They get worked to quite a significant degree with your curl variations and just pulling movements in general. But if they're lagging, yeah, definitely include some isolation work. A lot of people might be wondering where the hammer curls are at. And they're a great exercise, especially for the brachioradialis.